All right, man. So most of y'all probably sitting here looking at it like, hey, yo, one, we're late. Apologies for that. Two, where's my co-host? He'll be here at some sort of time. He was out watching his Wisconsin football game. Thought he'd be home in time for the pod. I guess some things popped up. I guess we'll get the answer when he gets here. Maybe, maybe not. But what's good, Tar Heel Nation? It is your boy, Myron McCray, captain of the Hooligan Express, this side of the Mississippi, man. And he's not here, so I can't really say, and that is my co-host. But again, he will be here. Y'all know who I am, captain of the Hooligan Express, one half of the North Carolina Tar Heel Live show. And hey, big whoop for y'all getting the solo dolo ride today. We don't know how we're gonna make it work, but you know what? We're gonna be all right. We gonna be whoa. There we go. I don't know what is going on. You know what? Get back to what I was doing. All right. I'm trying to find a layout that works for me here, but yeah, no, I don't like that because y'all can see my background and y'all can see the door back there. So, you know what? We're sticking to this. Yeah, nah. Yep. That's it. Stop playing with things, man. But guys, apologies for being late. Please. This is not a usual occurrence. We are here live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Today just happened to be one of them days where things got away from us. And honestly, just stuff just occurred. Would have been here at 9, but things happen. And like I said, I got caught up trying to start it at 9 and some things popped up. We were shooting for 9:15, but then he told me he wasn't going to be here till 9:30. Potentially, I pushed it, see what would happen. It didn't. So, hey, we're here. However, let's go ahead and get into today's docket, man. There are quite a few things that I do want to talk about and do want to speak upon for the North Carolina Tigers as we get ready for UCF this week, man. And the first thing I do want to talk about, and I do want to ask the question, is about the eye test of what we've seen so far this season. So, we've had 3 games, right? We've had 3 games. And a lot of us are sitting there questioning, trying to figure out, all right, we've had 3 games. What are we seeing? How do we feel heading into the season? What are the highs and lows, the good and the bad, the ugly and everything in between for this season? And one person who broke it down, gentleman by the name of David Starnes. He has a Tar Heel blog, and I found it online. I really like his perspective. I like the way he broke this down. So I do want to read this to y'all so we can have some nuances and context of what I'm referring to when I say this. And David, if you ever watched this, man, thank you. Would love to talk to you. Would love to get you on the show one day, if possible. If very, very possible. Please let us know, man. Love to have you here. But I'm going to head and share my screen with y'all. This way you're not bored. So let's go ahead and do that. Add that to the stage. And here we are. So as you can see, what the eye test tells us about UNC's football season so far. And as we scroll down, David kind of just gives his background, says, I've been a college fan for more than 50 years. This dates back to an older brother who put a hole in the garage drywall after Alabama surrendered a late lead to Notre Dame in 74 Sugar Bowl. That punch announced the sport as something serious, a fall weekend ritual that would govern the emotional health of a lot of people in my life for the coming week. I've been hooked ever since. I like that. So he says, like most fans, I trust my eye is well at home. However, I've become a bit of a stats nerd given the explosion of data points available now. For our eyes can't catch everything, especially in a sport where our eyes tend to follow the ball. Second, our priors tend to guide our eyes to what we want to see, while sometimes blinding us to things we should probably be paying attention to. Between Saturdays, I like to dig into the numbers and see what they can or subtract from what I saw. And he's like, my interests tend to be more random than linear. I'm not hunting for a formula or a pattern to predict the result, just reliving Saturdays through spreadsheets, hunting curiosities. I'm also an English and history major, UNC 90. Hardly an expert at numbers. Feel free to point out any idiocies. Cool. I'm with it. And I respect it. So what does he first say? The defense. I says, this is the most fundamental sound defense we've seen in Chapel Hill in a long time. Nani? 2 straight games without allowing an offensive touchdown. Is that allowed anymore? The eye test summary for him says tackling is better, angles are better, run fits are better, getting off blocks is better. It's the sort of defensive competency that we could only wish had been offenses paired with offenses featuring Sam Howell, Drake May, Josh Downs, and Tez Walker, Marion Hampton, etc. Depth, problem. Lack of future pros, problem. Still, this is far better than defensive coaching than we've seen in Chapel Hill in a long time. And it sounds like my co-host has appeared. However, I don't know. Let us see, people. And
Magic.
there it goes. And there he is. So, been doing my
Max
best.
Verstappen.
do, 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 do. Max Verstappen. I do not like Max Verstappen, just for record.
There he goes. There goes. There goes Verstappen. He's
I
a
respect him.
demon on wheels.
I respect him. Don't like him. That's what. But
Yeah.
essentially, so far, did the intro and whatnot. Said you were running late due to being a good godfather and at the game. And basically, we're getting into the eye test. And I found this blog where this gentleman was just essentially giving his eye test on the Tar Heels so far. I think you'd like the intro because his intro said, I've been a college fan for more than 50 years. That dates back to an older brother who put a hole in the garage drywall after Alabama surrendered a late lead to Notre Dame in the 74 Sugar Bowl. That punch announced the sport as something serious, a fall weekend ritual that would govern the emotional health of a lot of people in my life for the coming week. I've been hooked ever since. And he's been a fan for more than 50 years, so he's giving his eye test. And essentially, first thing he said about the defense, his eyes like, yo, this is the most fundamentally sound defense we've seen in Chapel Hill in a long time. 2 straight games without allowing offensive touchdown. Is that even allowed? His summary comes out to tackling's better, angles are better, run fits are better, getting off blocks is better. It's a sort of defensive competency we could only wish that had been paired with offenses featuring Sam Howell, Drake May, Josh Downs, Tez Walker, Marion Hampton, etc. Depth, problem. Lack of future pros, problem. Still, this is far better defensive coaching than we've seen in Chapel Hill in a long time. What are your thoughts about that?
No, they're not wrong. Because over the last 2 games, they have been much improved. I would
Not
definitely say.
wrong. Definitely not wrong. However, I do have to be that guy in the room. It's Charlotte and Richmond.
I mean, yeah.
So
Thinking about it objectively, you know, it's still
objectively, I do say that. So
Well,
I do
progress is
want
progress.
progress is progress. So he says the defense numbers say 94, 63, 99, 105, 49, 58, 95, 116, 97, 72. Now, what do those mean? Apparently, those are the past 10 years of total defense rankings for UNC. We're hungry for something better, and the Belichick brand is all about defense, and that can affect how we see things. 69, that's UNC's current defensive ranking in yards per game. 54 is the current defensive ranking in yards per play. 73 is the defensive ranking in SP, which adjusts for opponent strength and tempo. I honestly did not even know that was a stat. I did not even know that stat. So then when you
Learn
look at
something new every day.
their stats, TCU, UNC gave up is like how each of these opponents' offenses did against UNC. 500 for TCU, they put up 542 yards and 7.53 per play versus UNC. Whereas when they went up against Abilene Christian, 489 yards and 8.15 per play. Charlotte put up 218 versus App State on 4 yards per play, whereas UNC they put up 271 on 3.8 yards. And then Monmouth, they put up 560. Good God. They really did smack Monmouth like that.
They
Jesus.
really did.
On 7.83. And then Richmond against Lehigh, it was 181 and 3 yards per play. Against Wofford, 272 and 3.9. And then against UNC, 199 and 3.2 per play. So with all those numbers as he's saying, like defense so far is appreciably better than our 10-year median average. Immediately, it's also average dead center of the bell curve so far, which again is definitely a step up from horrendous. The comp suggests it's about on par with Lehigh's and App State's defense, and yet transitive comps are are how at the end of the very season we can joke that a 3-win team is better than a national champ. Just interesting, not definitive. So I believe it. And then he's like, we could be seeing a week over week improvement, which would make complete sense for a new staff with a new roster. Or we could be seeing a defense that was hapless against TCU, good against a bad FBS team, and dominance against the FCS offense. That was also dominated by Lehigh and badly struggled against 0-3 Wofford.
I'm about to say, yeah, if you struggle against Lehigh, then
So I say all that to say this. When it comes to my eye test, and I know I didn't watch the Richmond game. I understand I didn't watch that game, but based off the eye test that I've seen, again, they are getting better, and you see the flow getting better. You see
definitely.
the pieces being put together. However, I have to take the last two games with as much of a grain of salt. I have to take, especially the Richmond game, I have to take with a grain of salt because I expected that. The Charlotte game, I take a little bit more seriously because that shouldn't have been that. I had to take
It
that
shouldn't have
seriously
been that close.
because it shouldn't have been that close. Exactly. Had they blown them out, I treated it the same way I treat the Richmond game of like, all right, cool. Y'all took this time to really gel and mesh as you're supposed to. But y'all were struggling in that Charlotte game when you shouldn't have been struggling. So I still have concerns and I still have like some yellow flags. I ain't gonna say red, but yellow flags heading into UCF. What about you?
And no, and I don't disagree with any of that because it's because like I said just a second ago, looking at them compared to week 1 to now, they have definitely gotten better, as you would hope they would have. Because biggest stipulation in it was and it's going to keep getting brought up. They had 70 new players, 40 of them transfers, 30 of them freshmen, and they only had, I think they said 36 actually come back. So having to plug and play and find where everybody's gelling and meshing was the difficult piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's starting to smooth themselves out now that they're starting to finally get that. Okay, we're starting to trust each other a little bit more. We're starting to look better. We're starting to get some of these things, some of these rough edges ironed out a little bit. So I think come mid-season, they'll definitely look like a team that I wouldn't say fully lives up to the hype,
At least looks
but
competent against FBS competition.
that, and also it looked like a team that, okay, this school's going in the right direction. Like things are starting to go and looking like they're going in the right direction. The expectations may be met within the next couple of years.